Hi, my name is Dr. Edward Orgel, and I teach saxophone and jazz studies here at Westfield State University. I'm going to talk a little bit about the jazz audition for the Western District Festival audition coming up for you. For jazz, your equipment might be a little different than what you would play in a concert band. Typically, we use a mouthpiece with a little bit bigger tip opening and a softer reed. This helps the sound to project a little more. Keep the sound warm. What I mean by that is to keep your embouchure only as tight as it needs to be in order for the reed to vibrate. And you have to support your sound. Don't pinch the sound. Make sure you're moving a lot of air through the instrument and your embouchure is looser than you think it needs to be. Again, only as tight as it needs to be in order to make the instrument sound. Play your eighth notes legato and connected. Unless otherwise indicated. In jazz music, it's really common to play the downbeats kind of short. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Be careful of clipping those downbeats, right? So let's play them connected. Play your quarter notes separated, but not too short. They should have kind of a fat quality to them. And notice in this third measure of this example improvisation that the offbeat eighth note on the and a 1 and the downbeat quarter note on 3 are the same length. Right? Generally, articulation can be interpreted as you see fit when playing your solo. But consider learning to tongue the offbeats in a da-oo kind of way. I practice scales this way, in fact. I'm going to demonstrate that for you now. If you get comfortable playing offbeat tonguing, it can really help you in jazz music. So like, let's say if in this example improvisation, I could just tongue the offbeats in strings of eighth notes. In the fourth measure here, I'm going to play, I'm just going to tongue the offbeats and slur to the downbeats. So it's da-oo, 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 dot, da. It can really help you to have a jazzy and kind of a swingy articulation. Accent the top notes in the lines in the written solo when you're improvising and in the written solo. So it's pretty typical in jazz music to do this. I'll demonstrate that. Again, that's last measure in the example improvisation, or the last measure of the first line. I'm going to play that for you now. And listen how I accent the top notes as the direction change happens. So, those accents aren't marked in the piece. That's kind of something that you have to interpret. So to recap, legato, eighth notes, accent the top notes in direction changes. Let's talk a little bit about the improvisation. Stick close to the melody when you improvise. Now, it's really easy to get carried away with playing a lot of notes like you would hear in the professional who made the recording for you. But if you stick close to the melody, you won't get lost in the form. Varying the melody gradually and keeping it in mind is really the best way to begin to improvise. There are famous musicians like Miles Davis who made their entire careers out of doing nothing more than varying the melody. I'm going to demonstrate some of that for you now. First, I'm going to play the melody straight, but then I'm going to improvise on the melody, and eventually you can kind of move so far away from the melody that somebody hearing your improvisation might not even recognize that you have the melody in your head. But if you keep the melody in your head and use it as a sort of a tether or a guide, and just play what you hear and vary the melody in an expressive way, you can come up with some remarkably beautiful solos. So here's the tune, Softly and as the Morning Sunrise. Okay, so that's the first A section, right? I'm going to play. Now I'm going to vary that and gradually move away from it. I'm just going to keep repeating that section, and each time I'm going to vary it just a little bit more to demonstrate what I'm talking about. And keep things simple and within your technical ability, right? So I wasn't really thinking about chords or you know, what scales to play. All I was thinking about was the melody, and I was trying to play things that would complement the melody and work along with it, almost a variation on it, right? And again, you can make remarkably mature sounding solos without ever really diving into chord scales or anything. Just stick to the melody and see what happens. You know, you have your backing track to practice with, and just kind of play through the melody and play around with it. You can start by just playing things like grace notes, and you know, just like try and inflect the melody. And I'm gonna stick even closer to the melody this time through, and just play things like I would play the melody if I was performing it. Because if I was performing this piece, I wouldn't perform the melody exactly as it's written there. Right? So let me demonstrate that for you. See that was the melody, recognized as the melody, but it wasn't what was written on the page. Let's try the bridge. There's no reason to improvise beyond that. Don't feel like you have to play a solo that's as notey or as involved as the example improvisation that they provide for you. You can, and of course you're going to learn the example improvisation, and that in of itself is a good thing for you to do. I was looking at it myself. I'm going to learn that myself because it's a great solo, and it's played by a wonderful musician, so you can use that. But again, don't feel like you have to play that. I hope that that you have found this useful. So thank you very much for watching this video, and good luck with your audition.